Alright guys, we are starting to rack up W after W with these based developers, the few who are actually brave enough and willing to speak up. And we are seeing more and more of them. We are seeing like the composers from Halo and Tomb Raider, and a few of these developers, the CEO of some of these companies that are willing to speak up and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't attack gamers. Maybe we shouldn't impose morals and try to like virtue signal and tell gamers that they're just the worst people on the planet. Maybe we should get back to making fun games that are designed to appeal to a mass audience rather than virtue signal to a fraction of a minority that exists only online and doesn't actually play our games. So of course we saw the CEO of Saber, the studio that made Space Marine 2, basically double down on this this comment that was left on an Asmongold video. So Matthew Kark, the CEO of Saber Interactive, was allegedly the one who left a comment on Asmongold's video, said some very like not even offensive stuff, such as, I hope that games like Space Marine 2 and Black Myth Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time when games were simply about fun and immersion. Again, wanting games to go back to being more old school, about the fun and less about the politics, and of course the woke agenda and the virtue signaling that we see online, on Twitter, during Pride Month, during all the LGBTQ minority plus, you know, celebrations that we see all year long now. And unfortunately, they tried to cancel him for this, but luckily for him, people have had enough and cancellations are not as easy as they once were. Speaking of which, Thomas Mahler, the guy behind Ori 1 and 2, as well as No Rest for the Wicked, has also spoken out in the past about the DEI initiatives, activists in the games industry, speaking out against cancel culture. This guy has been kind of a lightning rod, a little bit behind the scenes. He's been, you know, out there, but hasn't really caught fire as heavily until recently. So you can see some of these articles talking about him from the past, debating people like Philip Weber from The Witcher, saying that cancel culture and, you know, woke ideology are not necessarily good things. Well, now today has kind of reached a boiling point where not only Thomas Mahler has gotten into it with somebody who claimed to be a former employee developer on Ori Will of the Wisps, but then you also had Alyssa Mercante injecting herself into it because, once again, often I point out on this channel, as I don't enjoy covering her anymore because she has just become so unbearable to even think about, she is only doing this for attention. And so I try to cover her as rarely as possible these days because, honest to God, she's not even that good for views. A lot of times people see her thumb in the thumbnail and they go, I'm not watching that, I don't want to hear about her. But this is a fantastic turn of events that you guys just need to see. So we have this article from Smash JT breaking down kind of what happened today. And it's not a very complicated situation. Long and the short of it, we had this person who goes by, I believe it's QLog on Twitter, who had previously said back in June, hey new folks, I'm Ray, I work in the gaming industry in the UX, R&D, plus game production. I worked on various software and hardware for Xbox, and now work as an independent media producer and had the privilege of working on the Dota Internationals 2023 and other gaming media projects. And you see one of them is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Okay. Nothing too innocuous, nothing too strange out there. She, her, they, them. She's a Twitch partner. How people get to be Twitch partners these days, I don't know, because Twitch is just a cesspool that has never made money a day in its existence. So, of course, Thomas Mahler came across this, and it's not because of this post here in June, it's because recently she kicked off a lot of hornet's nests by saying, this discourse is BS, shut the F up, a thread, and this was back from October 3rd. DEI consulting companies don't bully studios into changing creative direction. They act as resources to help creatives portray a lived experience. The Northman is an example of this. Games aren't falling apart due to some conspiracy. They're falling apart due to insanely high interest rates and poor investment decisions. We're also in a recession, blah, blah, blah. And then fast forward to today. This thing that she posted back in June kind of got dragged back up because of the firestorm that she caused 6 days ago. So Thomas Mahler, the CEO of the company that made Ori Will of the Wisps, saw this previous tweet and said, I'm the director behind both Ori games, and I don't know who you are and how you were affiliated with Ori, ? And again, not really that terrible, nothing that, you know, horrible for him to say. She replied and said, I worked with Xbox User Research. I was the URA for global publishing during 2018 to 2020. Nice to meet you. And of course, Smash says, for those not familiar, she also deleted the following post. I worked with the Xbox User Research, Deborah Henderson, no clue who that is. I'm sure we'll hear from her in a few months. So Thomas Mahler says that could explain it. I didn't want to cause you any trouble. I just saw you posting that you worked on Ori and I had no idea who you are. Since you're calling people names online, and so I'm going to actually fast forward to something else that you might not have seen previously. She actually went out of her way to go after people. Unfortunately, the tweets are deleted, but started calling people all sorts of names, including Grums, saying shut the F up. I believe something along the lines of suck my butthole. Again, don't quote me on that. I just saw the tweets before they were deleted. So this is where Alyssa Mercante had to interject herself, okay? In response, Mercante jumped in and almost immediately resorted to name-calling, calling Mahler a dickhead, a move that shifted the tone of the exchange sharply. And you can see the tweet right freaking here, where it is just getting destroyed, ratioed in the replies. So she tweeted 10 hours ago, "You're a dickhead," and he replied, "I don't know who you are." He bodied her in this tweet, like 4.3 thousand likes to her measly 385, and I'm positive she actually has far more Twitter followers than he does. He only has about 18,000 Twitter followers, and he absolutely destroyed her. She then replies, "Maybe you forgot," and it's from an article, a previous hit piece on his company that says Mahler sometimes argued with the veterans that he brought in, and he changed his mind about the decisions they made and would overrule them. Mahler would also forget about arguments and then argue for the opposite to happen, and that impacted the work of multiple people, multiple developers said. To which he put out this fantastic reply. He says, "You're apparently a journalist from Kotaku, so I'm guessing you haven't worked in actual game development yet." Ouch. Okay, so it just gets better. "Let me try to explain the thing you posted about, which I'm guessing was from that hit piece from a few years back. Yes, I'm guilty of what's stated in that image, and that's okay because this is the normal creative process. We brought lots of veterans into Moon because generally great people want to get the opportunity to work on great projects, and that's our goal at Moon. We always set out to create the kind of games we'd love to play ourselves that fill some hole in the market because for some reason, those holes have not been filled yet. And so we're all incredibly passionate about what we do. With great talent comes lots of enthusiasm and passion, which absolutely leads to arguments because ultimately everyone is working hard on getting their vision into the game, but also everyone at Moon understands that we're working together as a team. So the point of these arguments is then to try to convince each other why this or that solution would be the best thing for the game we're making, and the best solution ought to win. Most of the times, the beauty behind these arguments is that everybody gets a chance to contribute, and more often than not, the actual solution will be one that ultimately everybody contributed to, because we're dealing with the very complex issues all the time, and complex problems often also need complex solutions. It is often a chaotic process, but it's controlled chaos. And yes, absolutely every now and then I have to put my foot down and set the direction, because I'm the game director, and ultimately it's my responsibility to ensure that everyone knows where things are heading, and that decisions get made. And yes, it also happened that I agreed to a certain decision, playtested some more, and changed the direction after. Again, to me this is a normal part of the process, since things get clearer and clearer the more stuff gets implemented and the more we play and test. To me, all this is just how creative work happens. It can be painful, but my job, like any good director, is to understand what's going on and make sure the right decisions get made. Even if some work might get rendered useless in the process. See here, even Miyamoto is guilty of that, talking about Zelda Dungeons on Wiki. A few years back, we hired some folks that didn't really fit our culture, so we had to part ways with them, and then this article happened. Wasn't a great feeling to see some ex-Moon employees talk badly behind our backs, but ultimately it just made it clear that these folks shouldn't have worked at Moon in the first place, and I hope they're happier now wherever they landed. I don't know why you're out there cursing out game developers and what your whole deal is, but I hope that gave you some insight into the creative process and its messiness and beauty. I hope you have a nice day. Yours truly, Dickhead." I mean, I don't think there's ever been a better response to any of the absolute insane rubbish that Alyssa Mercante has tweeted. We've seen a lot of it the past 6-7 months, guys. Honestly, she was the most hot topic when we were first getting into what they've dubbed Gamergate 2.0. But I feel like we have moved past her at this point. I feel like we have all grown, we've all developed, we've all matured. And she is still stuck in the same rut she's been in for years. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. There's more to it, but I think that pretty much sums it up. And I will catch you guys on the next one. All right, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.